When I first heard the theme for this, I was planning on telling an ex-boyfriend story because they're notorious for coming back with a vengeance. And then I remembered that a while ago my mom had dug up all of the things that I wrote when I was little, one of which is something that I'm going to share with you. And when she first called me up and said that she had found this, it took me a couple minutes to remember what this was or why I did it, and I don't know the answer to why, but I know what it is, and it's an obituary I wrote for myself in 5th grade. It was not a class assignment. It was apropos of nothing. I'm sure I was up in my fake classroom, bedroom, and I wrote myself an obituary, and I have it word for word, and I'm going to read it for you right now. Danielle Edgehill Fabricatory was a daughter, a famous writer, and a pet owner. Danielle leaves behind friends and a loving family. She was born in Newton, Massachusetts, and spent her childhood in Hingham. As an adult, she moved to other parts of the country. She accomplished a long list of things in her full life. For example, she competed in the National Softball Championship, was an award-winning horseback rider, and collected over 50 CDs. She also restored peace in her neighborhood and was beloved in her town. Mrs. Fabricatory helped others in need whenever possible and was well known for her good deeds. For fun, she traveled the world and went on trips to Bermuda and Florida. She was also very, very close with her single mom, and together they went to the movies and played board games. Danielle's mom has outlived her daughter and is really, really sad. Her best friend is gone. She is lonely, but has 2 cats to keep her company. For work, Danielle made her living as a writer and wrote 4 #1 books that all sold out at Barnes & Noble and Borders bookstore.
R.I.P.
Danielle was married to her one true love, Haley Joel Osment. The lead star of the movie The Sixth Sense. They both met in California and are the exact same age. Their birthdays are only 11 days apart. Haley loved Danielle very much, and then, in all bold, he will not remarry. They kissed live on TV at the Academy Awards not but 1 year ago. Mrs. Fabricatory has a few regrets in her life to share. When she was little, she accidentally killed her 3 goldfish, Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo, by trying to draw Ninja Turtle headbands on them with markers. Michelangelo survived and lived on for years later. Danielle regrets not being better at math. She also wishes she saw her dad more, but without having to be with his girlfriend. Her dad came to her wedding and had a really great time and really liked Haley Joel. He was proud that Danielle accomplished what she did. Finally, Danielle and Haley Joel moved back to Massachusetts and grew old there because she really missed the ocean and wanted to be by the beach and her family again. So that is my 5th grade obituary. Things have not gone as planned for 5th grade indeed. And I was thinking about this, and I thought I would be amiss to not sort of update my 5th grade self on reality versus expectations of what's occurred so far in my life. So I've written a letter that I've never read aloud, and I'm going to now read to my past 5th grade self. Hi Danielle, 27-year-old you here. I wanted to check in and update you on what kind of progress you've made in life so far. That 5th grade obituary is a lot to live up to, and I'm trying my best, but there have been a few road bumps. First of all, you do not go by Danielle anymore. People other than mom started calling you D in middle school, and now you only introduce yourself as such. Over the years, you've collected some other nicknames like Dee Dee and Dummy. Someone also told you you reminded them of a hamburger if hamburgers had legs. Good news! You did end up moving to other parts of the country. In fact, you went to college in Iowa and consequently are the first person in your immediate family to ever leave the East Coast. When you did so, Grandma said things like, "That's stupid," and "You'll get fat eating all those potatoes." For the record, you did not move to Idaho. As for accomplishments, you're doing fine. You own a credenza, you can parallel park, and you ace basically every online quiz you take. There are some things you'll never succeed at, which you just have to accept. For example, you'll always look like a sad Cabbage Patch Kid doll in a romper. It's just your body type, accept it. Now, I been going around helping others in need this whole time, but you did just join the Ukrainian Village Neighborhood Watch Facebook group, and you've been picking fights with Sue Koch because she's very out of line and somebody has to put her in her place. Sometimes you sit by the window like Gladys Kravitz, waiting for the neighbors to light off fireworks so you can report back. As far as what it's like for you to do, what you like to do for fun, see above. Plus, you're still passionate about traveling and luckily have made it back to Florida several times more. You also spend a lot of time on the couch with Meredith, where you order dessert for delivery and fall asleep by 10 p.m. Meredith is what we call our essential other. She is central to your living, and our dialogues intertwine the way Silly Putty leaves an imprint on everything it touches. She's moving to Austin in a week, and saying goodbye to her will be one big awful armpit to the face. Mom is still your best friend. You two talk on the phone almost every day, and she still finds time to give you important pieces of advice like, talk to your therapist about this, and if you can't cook it in a crock pot, it's not worth making. She's still single, and you often worry about her loneliness. She won't admit it, but it echoes in her chest. Remember when she taught us that if we ever got lost in a department store, we should just stand in one place for long enough and she'd eventually find us? Well, she never taught us what to do when Mom is lost too, and we were both standing and waiting in different parts of the store. All that said, she's tripled in cat ownership and still has more friends than you. Speaking of animals, more good news, you were made a pet owner. You are the proud mother to a neurotic mutt named Mr. Chicken, who recently embarrassed you at a friend's party by shitting all over their living room floor. Professionally speaking, it's a mixed bag. Yes, you still aspire to be a successful writer, and yes, you currently have a job that requires using words, but you don't spend enough time writing, and you're not gracing the shelves of Barnes & Nobles anytime soon. Side note, and I say this with the utmost sorrow, Borders bookstores no longer exists. Sorry. In 2007, you got a tattoo on your wrist of a quill pen, thinking you're all hip and writer-like, but everyone just thinks it's a large feather, and you occasionally feel dumb about that. Ultimately, you've learned that measuring creative success is like trying to open a cereal box without ripping the entire top off. Impossible. Which leads me to something important I want to talk to you about, so listen carefully. Once or twice a week, or a day, depending on the season and circumstance, you'll be hit with what we call the heavy bathrobe. This bathrobe, it's heavy, hence the name. When it's on, you cannot move. And while you can feel yourself sink down, you can't do anything about it. This is called depression, and it really sucks, but you learn to live with it. Don't let it define you. Okay, I know, you're wondering about your love life. I've been avoiding this topic on purpose because, listen, the last thing I want to do is upset you. But look, you still haven't married Haley Joel Osment. That doesn't necessarily mean you won't end up marrying him, but I should tell you that he hasn't been in a notable movie since 2001, and he now looks like he's been stung by an angry swarm of bees. Are you still into that? I'll support the dream regardless. You've gone through 2 miserable breakups, one right after college and another more recently. You couldn't have prepared for either, so don't bother trying. The more recent one, you thought you had everything figured out, and then all of a sudden he was breaking up with you, and your stomach felt like a sandwich bag filled with soup leaking from the bottom. You left his apartment and your legs were ghosts, and you melted onto the couch where you remained for the next 72 hours. You ordered $60 worth of self-help breakup books with titles like, It's Called a Breakup Because It's Broken, and A Smart Girl's Guide to Moving On, which you never opened. Instead, you burned through every murder mystery show you could find and cried in a Chili's bathroom, twice. Here's a quick tip. You only get a week or so to walk around like the heavy bathrobe, and then you have to start acting like an iron pair of slacks in public. This is because everyone wants to look at a living tree, not a charred stump. But there is good news. Maybe 3 weeks after the breakup, you were sitting in the bathroom and you didn't feel like crying. The realization hit that just like it's okay to cry on the toilet, it's okay to stop crying on the toilet too. And one Tuesday evening in March, you go on a date with someone that values communicating as much as you do, and suddenly you're not swimming against a current. You make a summer fun list and cross almost everything off of it together, and you totally make out a lot. Yeah. You fall in love. You are a team. And I saved the best part for last. He's in a few KFC commercials, so it's not all that different from dating Haley Joel after all. We're getting there. Sure, you still have regrets. That's a whole way to define life, not just by the things you've done, but by the things you didn't do. You did get better at putting on deodorant every day. You didn't get better at math. You did get closer with Dad. You didn't get closer with his girlfriend. You did, you didn't. Why does it matter? Your life to this point has been mostly okay, and as you'll come to learn, that's pretty lucky. Finally, I wanted to touch on that last thing you wrote at the end of the obituary about the ocean. You're right, you really, really miss it. You miss the way the salt collapses onto your skin and how the sound of crashing waves rips you wide open. It was a damn near perfect way to end that incredibly morbid writing exercise you took upon yourself, you little weirdo. Talk to you in 10 years or so. Fingers crossed for Hail Joe wedding bells by then. Sincerely, Dee.